And welcome. We're live, and welcome to the Rican show. And today I'm happy to have Buck Angel on, the famous Buck Angel, I would say the OG of the trans community.
How do I feel about that? I don't know.
Hey,
Hilarious.
hey, you did it before. It was cool. I don't know. People can't see me doing quotation marks. Before it was cool.
Yeah, pretty much. Before it was anything.
So before we get into some of the controversial issues, I want to maybe tell people, let people know your story for people who may not
Sure.
know you.
Mhm.
Like a little brief, because I mean you have a long you've had a long career, so I mean
Yeah, yeah, I have.
brief synopsis of who you are.
Sure, sure. Thank you. First off,
Yeah.
thanks so much for having me on, my friend. I really appreciate it. So my name is Buck Angel, and I am a transsexual man. So I was born biologically female. I'm a biological female who transitioned 30 years ago to live as a male. Now, I transitioned at 30, so I'm 60 now. And so I live my life totally as a man. I know that I'm a biological female. I walk the world in this space, and I've had such a wonderful life. My transition has been the most incredible thing for me. It's nothing like the stuff you see today. And that's why I appreciate you having me on your platform, because I think this representation of trans is not representing the full community. And there are people like me who just want to transition and have what we used to call a sex change, even though we know we don't change our sex,
Yeah.
but and live life. And I have a wife and a kid, and I have businesses, and I don't walk the world screaming at everybody that I'm trans and I have no rights. Like, my God, no, we didn't really have rights 30 years ago. Today, gosh, I wish I transitioned today. Are you kidding? These kids.
Oh man, I mean, they look at it like this. They're looking for. We have things are so good
Yeah,
that they're pulling at straws
that's right.
to find things to be oppressed about.
That's right. I do agree with you on that. I mean, if they really understood what oppression was, they would be embarrassed about what they're doing on
Well, it's
some
kind of like
level.
when you see LGBT people, they're like free Palestine, and it's like, do
Right.
you realize
Right.
if you went to Palestine as an LGBTQ person, you may not come back alive?
That's right. That's right. That's so typical of American, allyship or activism, right? They don't really like, don't be my ally. Don't be a trans ally when you're aligning yourself with a group of people that do nothing but actually hurt trans rights. When you align with people to transition little children, don't say you're a trans ally, because many of us don't agree with that.
So speaking about, since you brought up the trans children stuff,
Yeah.
what, as someone who's trans and who's someone who did it late in life,
Hmm.
what's your opinion on what would be an appropriate age
Hmm.
for someone to maybe start thinking about it, uh
Hmm.
and maybe start the process, not necessarily start the I because I think first you should see therapy. You should see a therapist. And isn't that something where, like, when that goes on, you have a therapist, like 1 or 2 sessions,
Yep.
it's like, here's puberty blockers.
Not even two, one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's scary, friend. So,
Mhm.
again, I'm going to sound like the old fuddy duddy. Well, when I did it, it was blah, 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 right? But when I did it, I'm still here and I'm solid and I've never looked back, right? And I just,
Mhm.
did my thing, and it's been so tremendous and healthy. And I don't push on the world to
Mhm.
sort of call me, my pronouns and all the stuff that's just so against what transitioning is about. So that being said, you know, I believe in a system that takes somebody through. Now, I do believe there are young people who could possibly be trans, no doubt about it. I mean,
Mhm.
what was I when I was a little kid and I felt like a boy, right? In the
Mhm.
60s and 70s. We just didn't call it trans. But I grew to go through puberty, and I went
Mhm.
through all puberty is the most important thing a human being can do. I don't care what anybody says. It's the most
Mhm.
important thing a human being. It's literally going from a child to an adult. You need that space.
Mhm.
So I don't so that being said, I did go through my female puberty, which I don't really call that. I just call it my normal puberty.
Yeah.
And that's normal puberty. And to into growing into a female and having to stress the boobs and the period and the things that aren't comfortable for any girl. I don't care. You tell me a girl that likes going through puberty and you're like, that's kind of weird. So that being said, all of those things helped me to have a very, very positive transition. Today, they're putting young people who say they're trans, right? And how they're getting those words, I don't even know, because never did I say I was trans. I said I feel like a boy, completely different. So now these kids at 11 and 12 are saying they're trans, and the doctors can't even push back on it. So when I had a therapist, my therapist pushed back on me because that's what therapy is. Well, what does that mean, Buck? Do you mean you feel like a man? Okay, so what is a man? And then what does it mean to feel this way or that way? Which was so instrumental in me taking that next step. I did not do a 15-minute intake. I did not even do an hour intake, which is what they're doing now. Somehow they think a child of 11 and 12 knows what they're saying when they know nothing of what they're saying. So today, yeah, you can get a 15-minute or you can be put on puberty blockers, at the age of 11. I disagree. And I speak to a lot of young people. And I just spoke to a 15-year-old young person, a male to female, right? Okay. So a young man who is now transitioning to live as a female. But this person went to 4 years, 4 of therapy from the age of 11 to the age of, I think she started at 15. So I actually thought, wow, this person is actually amazing because I did feel, and I do, but she took the time and the energy to take it slow and to really, and all her doctors were on board, everything. So I'm going to tell you that I definitely believe there's some young people who will benefit from it, but it's small.
Yes.
This is a disorder that is very small. It's not what you see. There's no way all of these young people are trans.
And you just said it's, now it's stigmatized if you say it's gender dysphoria, which
is ridiculous, dude. I have a disorder. This is a disorder. It's a medical disorder. Don't you dare take away my medical disorder. I need this in order for me to walk the world, to get my medicine, to understand with any disorder, right? Let's say you have diabetes and you go and you're like, oh, that's why I was feeling like shit the whole time, right? Because you got the diagnosis. And so now you don't need a diagnosis of gender dysphoria. You just automatically know you're trans. That's just not real. That is not real.
I was watching I forgot. No, I read something that was saying where if a therapist now in certain states, like probably your state,
totally,
where this is the crazy thing. So if the therapist pushes back on someone who thinks that the opposite sex, that's considered conversion therapy.
That's right.
If you try to get them to be accepting of what their actual sex is,
that's right.
It's criminalized as conversion therapy.
That's right. Thank you, California. It's a mess. It's horrible. I was born and raised here in California, and I'm saddened by the way we are sort of going. It's not progressive in any way, shape, or form, or nor is it liberalism in any way, shape, or form. The left woke is different to me than a person of myself who has more liberal thoughts, or I'm really in a very middle ground space here.
Because you're a classical liberal.
Yeah, I am a classical liberal. Thank you, my friend. I really am.
Classical liberal. Yes. That's where I'm more. That's why like people were attacking me on when I advertised our interview, and I said they're like, oh, the Republicans this and the Republicans that, and I'm like, my name doesn't say the Republican Rican.
The Republican Rican.
It says the right Rican. And why? Because I don't like either party.
Right on.
I think both parties suck.
They suck.
They suck. To me, I just go, okay, well, right now, which party sucks less?
That's right.
And it's like, okay, yes, the Republicans suck less. That doesn't mean that I say they're good.
That's right. But if you're going to pick the lesser of two evils, they've lost their mind, the Democrats. They've actually lost their mind.
I always tell people, look at California versus, let's say, Florida.
That's right.
If you want to see the difference in what,
that's right.
Republican and Democrat majorities will get you.
That's right. That's it. You made a great point right there. And, you know, many of us, I believe many of us in this country are very more like in this middle ground
Yes.
space, right? Some of that's why me and you connect, and I connect a lot with more right side leaning conservative people than I ever have in my
Mhm.
whole life. And I think even people of myself, classical liberal people, we connect now because we do see the evils of these really radical left and right ways
Yeah,
of
well, that's
being.
I go like this. I grew up Democrat. I'm from New York, so I grew up as a Democrat. But
Right,
even let's
right.
say, for example, when I considered myself a Democrat
Uh-huh.
in 2000 when Hillary ran for Senate in New
Mhm,
York.
mhm.
I couldn't vote for her.
Right. There you go.
She was a
See?
power hungry politician,
That's
and
right.
I couldn't go for that. I
That's
knew she
right.
was using New York to want to run for president.
That's right.
And
You're
to
so
me, it was
right.
like, no, go to your home state. Leave my state out of it.
You see how
And
it becomes now? This is how our political system is, and it's totally disgusting. It's like if you
mhm,
don't vote, even if you know if you can't vote for the right because you'll be voting for killing LGBT people. I'm like,
uh,
what? Do you know how many conservative LGBT people I know? Like half my friend base is, and that's just
yeah.
not true. To
Well,
put
the
people,
problem is, it's like, they put, if you disagree with one aspect of what the left is talking about,
that's
you could
right.
be like, let's say for me, like,
That's right.
when it comes to social issues, I'm very liberal. When it
Yeah.
comes to abortion, gay
Hmm.
rights, all
Hmm.
that stuff,
Great.
that I'm more liberal. But when it comes to like fiscal issues, when it comes to
That's right.
gun issues and stuff like that, I'm
Yep.
on the right.
There you go.
And I don't fit in a neat little box.
That's right.
And why it's important for people like us to have these conversations
That's
is
right.
because the left like to hijack our identities
So
to
sick.
use as a weapon when
Yep.
they want their pet project, when they want their pet
Yep.
issue. And
Yep.
it's like, oh well, it's anti-trans. Well, there's a bunch of trans people here saying that it's not, so
It's not.
are these trans people anti themselves?
I mean, that's how absurd the whole trans debate is, right? Either
Yeah.
you're with us or you're against us. But I'm like, I'm an actual trans person and I'm not with you. So,
It's like I lived in Texas for a few years, and some of the people who are most anti illegal immigration
yeah.
were legal Mexicans.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, no, let
That's
them
right.
come here the right way. And I'm just there like, it's funny. My friends in New York would just their minds would be blowing right now
Yeah.
if they heard some of the things that I heard.
That's right. That's because they silence those voices and they try to silence people like me. You
Yeah.
know that. They try to say, well, Buck is X, Y, and Z, and he doesn't really count. But wait a minute, what happened to diversity and inclusion?
Yeah.
All those buzzwords they throw at all
Oh
of us,
yeah.
right? Love, we have love in our hearts, but we'll stab you because you're a turf.
Yeah.
Like, you people are insane.
Yeah. Look what they do to J.K. Rowling. It's like,
Oh, I won't
oh,
do. Mm-mm. JK's been very cool with me. She's tweeted me, and we've
mm,
spoken to it. And because I support what she says
yeah.
as a human being. It has nothing to do with me being a trans or any of
Well,
that.
it's I
What?
have a niece, and she's a competitive swimmer.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
she like a couple of years ago, her and I got into a little argument about the
Hmm.
whole trans issue.
Hmm.
And she's like, and I left it alone.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I understand she's in school, she's young, she doesn't get it.
Hmm.
Because I told her, I used to tell her it doesn't make sense to have biological males in female sports.
Uh-uh.
So finally, when that whole stuff happened with Leah Thomas, the swimmer,
Right.
it hit home to her.
That's
And then
right.
she was like, Dio, now I understand what you were saying.
Right on. So that's the thing is people have to have the actual experience. So we have these trans allies, trying to
Mhm.
help the trans movement, and then they say stuff. Well, it's transphobic to not let trans women in sports. I said, first off, you don't get to have this conversation. You're not it has nothing to do with you. First off, secondly, yes, it's wrong. It's
Yeah.
actual wrong to let biological males who are trans women, and there's nothing transphobic about saying that.
No.
Trans women are biological. I'm a biological female. They are biological males. What is the problem here? That's the reality of why you are trans. That is the actual thing that plugs you in to being a trans person is your biology. So why are you transitioning if you're not a
Oh
biological
yeah.
male?
And this whole thing about like 10,000 genders cracks me up.
I mean,
You
they're
know,
insane.
because I'm like, I don't see anyone transitioning to one of these other 1,000 genders.
That's right. That's right, friend.
It's either you're male wanting to be female or you're female wanting to be male.
How do you think
Nobody's
I feel?
transitioning to fairy or ghost
Fairy, yeah, a unicorn or whatever.
unicorn.
I'm like, if you're transitioning to a unicorn, you better go back to therapy real quick here because something's wrong.
Uh-huh. No, it's insane. I go, the maniacs are in charge of the asylum.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And
That's what's going
you know
on.
what's weird, my friend, is everyone's just sort of. I really do feel like people are putting a blind eye to it, and then what happens is that now we're going to get all of this bad stuff coming, at trans people, like shutting certain laws that I totally disagree with. But that being said, that's what happens when you push so hard on something, it pushes back even harder.
Yeah.
And I kept telling people, look, people don't care what adults do with them. You don't care if I have a sex change. What it has to do with you? It means nothing. It never has, dude. I did it 30 years ago. No one had an issue. Actually, people like me. I travel the whole world. People thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, wow, that's so cool. You don't look like a chick. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
It's funny that you said that because my wife, she commented on your pic. She's like, "Oh, if that's
a chick."
He goes, "Dad, he has a vagina." Like, yeah. She goes, "If he was in a bar, I would, I'd be checking it out."
Right on. No, that's a compliment. That's the whole point of transitioning, so that I look like you and that I can walk the world as a man and no one asks me my pronouns. This new generation is so baby. They're a bunch of babies. They're so sensitive and overly victimize themselves, and it's just, what are you doing then? Don't transition. Do not transition if you're going to cry at every single thing that gets put in front of your face, because you need to take care of some shit before you start to transit. Something's going on in here.
I had Laura. You had Laura. I actually found Laura through watching your show.
Excellent.
I had her on my show and we were talking.
Excellent.
And she was like, trans people have always been in the bathroom. It's called we look to pass.
That's
if we
right.
Pass to go to the bathroom.
That's right.
They've been doing it for years.
We've been here forever, friend. No one's ever pushed on us. That's why we know it's fake. This is a fake movement. It's something else. They're trying to achieve something else. So I want to go back to, I think it's fascinating how powerful this trans voice has become. It's shocking to me. How did they get so much power? How did they get into the White House? How are we flying the trans flag at the White House? I find that very bizarre and weird.
Well, I sent you, I don't know if you saw my email. I had sent you this what I think is going on with everything, because I've been talking about this for
that's right, yeah,
probably 2 years. I think at least 2 years I've been talking about it, because I read about this. I'll put it up on the screen so people can see what I always talk about this, because I think this is what's going on, and this is what we're living through. This is what I believe. This is what we're living through. Hold up,
Great.
Bring it up. So for people who can't, you could go to Wikipedia, or you could just go to Google and type in the four olds. And this is what I talk about, because, and it's funny, Bill Maher just talked about this like a week or two ago. And I was like, I've been saying this for 2 years.
That's great.
I've been saying this for 2 years. I'm glad someone's bringing it up in the mainstream, because this is what wait, someone put, can I share this podcast while it's recorded live?
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, you could share it.
Yeah, you
could share it on your on whatever social media platform you use. You could share it, and they could watch it now, or if they click later on, they'll watch the replay.
Excellent. Wow, this is interesting. Tell me more about this.
So the whole so let me read what it's. So this is what happened in Marxist in Mao's China.
Okay. Great.
In what is it, like in the 50s, 60s?
Yep.
So it's called the four olds. The concept was to get rid of old. Here goes. The four olds were old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits.
Wow.
Doesn't that sound like what's going on right now?
No, 100%, friend. 100%. It's like on the mark.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's God. I've been talking about this for 2 years, because when I seen what's going on, when you see what they're trying to they change want to change everything.
No, no, no. I already said it's a Marxist movement and it's fascist,
Well, yeah,
Marxist, all of those things.
wokeism to me is just is cultural Marxism.
That's
That's
right.
that's what it
100%.
is. It's
You know,
just
people like me and you who value being American, who value the American system. And of course, there's things that need to change here. There's no doubt
Mhm,
about that. But at the same time, I've lived in Mexico for 10 years and I
mhm.
clearly came back. Not that it was bad. I actually enjoyed it, but it's better here. And so that's the thing I think this younger generation is being taught at universities and being taught that America is this racist, colonial, blah, blah, blah. You know, those things exist, but those things
Yeah,
exist in every country, by the
yeah.
way. If these people have never been anywhere except in their mother's basement, so they don't even have any understanding of the world. They're just like living in these like really, really, you know,
Yeah,
they're
it's like
25 living in the basement.
they talk about like slavery. Like slavery only existed in the United States.
That's
It never
right.
existed anywhere else.
It's so, but it's so typical of how the narcissism coming from this generation trying to take us all out, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're all bad and we're going to redo the system. And nope, actually, I like capitalism. Thanks very much. Go move over there if you don't like it. But, you
That's what I
know,
tell people. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you go to Venezuela, go to Cuba, and
right on, dude.
let me know how you like it, and then you come back because
Right on.
when I lived in Texas, there was a bunch. I made friends with a bunch of people who fled Venezuela,
Sure. Sure.
and you know when Bernie Sanders was running, and I know some people love Bernie, but
They love him.
he's, but they were just
Mm,
like they were terrified because they were
that's
like,
right.
we left this in Venezuela
There you go.
for a reason. We came here because we wanted to get away from that. They're like, if you guys turn socialist or communist, we got nowhere else to go.
That's right. They don't people don't understand what that means. On paper anything can look amazing on
Yeah,
paper, but these things we've proven that these things don't work. Communism, socialism, Marx, all of it. We have
no,
shown you who wants to live in that space.
yeah.
They don't understand what it means. They're being taught it in a more academic way that, like I said, looks great on paper, but when
It's great in
you
theory. I go, this is what I tell like my friends. I go, look, if you have like small communities,
Yep,
communism and socialism, it works because
yep,
it's a small community.
that's right.
But when you try
That's
to
right.
make it large scale, there's only finite resources.
That's right.
If you're got to give everybody everything equally, then everybody's going to be equally poor. Nobody's
That's
going to be
right.
rich. The only people going to be the rich are going to be people who control everything.
That's right. That's exactly right, my friend. So when they want to make this happen here, and they don't understand what capitalism is. They do not. They just have this ugly idea of what it means. I would not be the person I am today. I didn't graduate high school. I was not ever in university. I was a
Mhm,
total loser, whatever you want to call it.
mhm.
And I created something of myself through my transition. And I own businesses and I'm very successful in what I do. And I would have never had those opportunities in other spaces. So that's why I'm like, no, I did prove people come to this country, like you just said, from other messed up places and create things that could never be done in another
Yeah,
space. And
was it? I think like the two highest earning uh groups in the country right now are
mm,
Nigerians and Indians.
interesting, isn't that
Not one white
interesting?
person,
There you
Indians
go.
and Nigerians.
And it makes total sense to me because,
Yeah,
and even Mexicans who come here and like, you know what I mean? They're like,
yeah,
yeah, we'll be in an apartment with 10 of us until we get our stuff. They're willing to sacrifice. That's the thing that we've created such a narcissistic sort of victimy
yeah.
group of people here that they don't even take advantage of the system. The system is here for you if you know how to sort of work through the
Yeah,
system.
you know how many I know when I was in Texas, all of them have a lot of these Mexicans have their own small business.
There
Like
you
people
go.
laugh at the landscaping stuff, but they make a shit ton of money.
Dude, you
They
think
have
they
nice
care?
houses, they have nice cars.
That's right. That's right, my friend. They have their that's because they're willing to work. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
Americans have been just taught this really bizarre work ethic. Thank God that I learned great work ethic as a child. My dad taught me, you know, you don't get nothing until you cut that lawn.
Yeah, I know
You know what I mean?
my parents were a caretaker of a building. I had to throw out the building's garbage. I had to mop and sweep a building. So yes,
Excellent.
I know how that
Excellent.
goes.
Excellent.
Hmm.
I love that stuff. I mean, when you don't teach your kid that kind of stuff, you're gonna raise a kid that's gonna be not successful, because even doing those kind of things, you learn a sort of self-respect, right? You learn a sort of, I can do it myself, I don't need, and that is such a powerful thing that your parents did for you.
Yeah, and when you during the pandemic, I built stuff because I was
Hmm.
out of just sheer boredom. Like I
Sure.
built some pantry shelves. I got
Great.
so bored, I built my own bed.
That's awesome. That's
I, I
totally awesome.
I bought some lumber, cut it, everything, put it all together, stained
Excellent.
it, and it was. And you know what? It means more to you because you built it yourself.
That's so, I mean, it's just a thing called work ethic. And, when I see an 18-year-old little trans kid working at Starbucks, what? Too many customers and I'm quitting. I'm like, oh my God. First off, you're putting it on TikTok. Are you insane? Everyone
Oh yeah,
ripped that kid apart, right? And I'm thinking, I hope he sees it. I hope he sees it, because it could actually help him realize what a little baby he is. Like, you can't handle customers. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
It's this generation is soft. It's like I know, like every
Wow.
generation, I know prior generation says the same thing,
That's true.
but
That's
this
true.
generation, it's
But
really, I
there's
mean,
no comparison to the other generations. There isn't.
no,
And I know I'm an older guy. I'm 60. I like, whatever. But doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I never saw this in any other. I never did. Never saw the anger coming from a generation like this. I never saw misguidance. I've never saw the narcissism, the entitlement. The
oh, the
entitlement is
entitlement,
insane.
yes.
Wow.
I mean, that's why they talk about, like student loans, and it's like, um, you got people who didn't go to college,
That's
people
right.
who didn't, like you said, you didn't
Like
graduate high
me.
school,
Nope,
so
that's right.
someone like you who didn't do none of that stuff has to pay for the people who did go. And what I
Can you
go like this, I
imagine?
remember I was arguing with someone. I go, so what degree did you go for? Because I go, unless you went for a lawyer,
Yeah,
doctor, a
right
nurse, or
on,
something like that, where
right
the
on.
college, your college degree actually
Yep,
means something.
that's
Because
right.
I got a college degree. You know what it? You know what good it does for me?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I know, it's kinda sad. But you're right, these kids are going to school for queer theory. Like, "Okay, that's gonna take you far,
Yeah,
friend." Basically, nowhere.
yeah. It's like you're lucky if you could go back and work for your college.
That's
That's
right,
about it.
right. No kidding, my friend. So I'm like, that's the stuff they're teaching at
Yeah.
university. I mean,
Hmm.
really, they are teaching some scary stuff to these young people. And I think now we're starting to see the damage that it has caused. And I think now even academia is starting to see it and start
Well,
to
the
come back
problem is
a little.
it's this has been going on for years. The problem
Mhm.
is this is some. The problem is the right. They're reactionary.
That's right.
They're
That's right.
reactionary.
Yeah, yeah,
This stuff that's
yeah.
been going on,
Mhm,
that's being taught in the universities,
mhm.
this is stuff that the right should have been fighting
Oof.
30, 40 years ago in the
God.
university. The problem
Yeah.
is that you don't right leaning people don't go work in universities.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're right. It's a much more liberal left space university,
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
problem. And you don't have you
yeah,
have colleges, maybe 5% of college professors lean somewhat right.
yeah, I agree. That's most
And
definitely
and
true.
that's the problem.
Mhm,
You can't have a conversation, or you can't have
mhm,
uh like real life lessons when
mhm.
all you're getting is that bubble. It's like
It's
people like
ridiculous.
are killing like Elon Musk and Twitter right now, but Twitter was part of one of the problems because if
That's right.
you're shadow banning, if you're blocking one side of the conversation, and
Yep,
everybody only sees the other side of the conversation,
that's
then they
right.
go, "Oh, well, that side's correct because it's the only side I'm seeing."
Well, that's right. That's what's wrong with all of social media, the algorithms, right? Because that's an actual real thing. The algorithms feed you what you think you
Mhm.
want to see, because that's who you're following,
Oh,
or that's what you're, yeah.
I could
So,
already, I
yeah.
pretty much, I think I can know what your opinion is. But
Your
there,
opinion.
someone asked your opinion about the male rapist who identifies now as female and was placed with female inmates.
Makes me want to puke. Honestly, puke. How gross. I first off, They're not trans. I don't care.
No,
I don't care. I'm not giving them that. I'm not. I'm
no,
just
I
not.
agree with
Nope.
you.
That's not a she. That's a he. And I don't care what anybody says about that. To me, that's my opinion. And I'm
Hmm.
entitled to it as an actual transsexual person. It's obvious what's going on. It's obvious beyond belief. It's obvious that why isn't it happening the other way? And this is how I
Hmm.
can prove the point that it's obvious. How come you don't see a lot of women in women prisons transitioning to men and wanting to get transitioned to the male prison? You don't see that, and you don't see a lot of them transitioning in prison. But you sure see a ton of these men who are all of a sudden trans, right? And if you notice the ones that are doing it, they're all psychopaths, like
Yes.
murderers and rapists, and
Yep.
it's a very specific group of people that are doing it. So
Hmm.
take your feelings out of it, people, and
Yep.
look at it as a sort of just objectively look at it, and you will see what we all see. It's complete nonsense. Number one, it's misogynist. It's extremely misogynist. And number three, there you go again, putting women in danger and
Yeah.
overriding women's feelings for men's feelings. That's why I call it a misogynist movement. It's disgusting and it's wrong. And
Yeah.
that person,
Remember.
I don't care if you're trans, you got to stay where you are.
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, I remember reading the article when they put her penis, and I'm like,
Oh,
I will not respect no rapist
no way.
and give him that pronoun.
No
You
way.
know,
No way.
I will not do that.
Nope,
And
me,
I
me
had
neither.
Laura on because I remember I spoke about that with Laura, and Laura's the same thing. Nope,
That's right.
that's not a, just like you. That's not a trans person.
We know it.
That's
We're
that's
actual
just a
real trans
male.
people.
That's
Yeah.
a male playing make believe.
It's actually it's the thing that makes me the most mad. I'm telling you, these people who are they're using my disorder, which I suffered for years through, and now they're just going to magically be trans. So that's why you got to look, you got to kind of go back a little, and you got to look, how did we get here? Well, we got here because people changed in the trans community. Mostly trans women are the ones running the trans community, and so they changed all these laws that we had in our
Hmm.
community, which were there for safety, so that this kind of stuff wouldn't happen. And so you had to get diagnosed with gender dysphoria in order to move forward. None of these people are diagnosed with gender dysphoria. They're just saying, I'm trans,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's
like
like saying,
I
yeah,
identify as a female
it's the
because I have a
same.
pink shirt. I
That,
identify as female right now.
that's, or can you imagine like they're doing it with race, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if someone just said, I'm Puerto Rican? You're like, no, you're
No.
actually like super white. And like, no, I'm Puerto Rican. I mean, that's upsetting. That would on some level probably make you a little bit upset because it's not cool. And it's like on some level appropriating your
Oh
space.
yeah, no,
And
I'm
yeah.
well. I mean, I still get it. All they're like, oh, you don't understand because you're passing. I do understand that.
I love when people say
Uh,
that to me.
It
And
is
I
like,
want to,
well, I want to punch them in the face when they say that to
me
me
too, dude.
because I'm just like, look, have you ever
Passing.
been called an effing spick before?
That's right. That's right.
So I mean, I must
100%.
not
Thank
pass
you.
that well if a cop could call me an effing spick and
That's
I have to
right.
sit there and go, I gotta take it.
Oh, dude, I hear you. I guess same for me, dude. So it's gross. These people take our space and just pretend like after, we're living it. We actually live in it, and then
Mhm.
just gonna randomly call myself a lady, and then everyone in the world has to say you're a lady and you have a lady penis. What does your penis have to do with anything? Like let's keep your penis out of it. And like, are you really a lady? It's just sick, dude. Like,
It's
are
like,
we are even entertaining these thoughts? We live in like South Park or something.
yeah, it's ma'am, like that.
It's
That
ma'am.
lady,
Oh,
it's ma'am. It's ma'am. It's not sir. It's like
raw.
seriously. It's like
Like,
try
really,
a
you want to
little
be a
harder.
lady?
Try a
Calm
little
down.
harder.
Like, ladies don't do that, by the way. So,
Exactly.
just so you know, like, maybe learn to be a lady
Yeah, that was
first.
like the guy who grabbed Ben Shapiro and was like, if you say something like that again, I'm gonna break your every
I
bone in your body. And it's
know.
like
I
that's not
know.
very ladylike.
Not ladylike in any way, shape, or form. And then you wonder why everybody hates us, more than ever. Like I keep telling you, I live a
Well, that's what
beautiful
it is.
life,
I think
dude.
the problem is the ludicrousy of this language police
That's
trying to
right.
make
That's right.
these new pronouns with the like we said like we made fun of with 1,000 genders and there's going to be thousand pro. No, it's
No, no,
nonsense.
no,
And then
no.
the worst part, and like you said, the reason why there's a lot of pushback is once you start messing with people's kids, it
That's
doesn't
right.
matter left, right, center,
That's right.
that you went too far. You
No,
went too
I
far.
say it all the time. Everyone would have left us alone, dude. Even the weirdos in prison, they probably would have left them alone. But the
Hmm.
thing is, you put kids, you dropped kids right in it, thinking you are
Hmm.
so smart. You
Yep.
can never drop kids in a space that you want to. I don't want to use the word mutilated because on some level it comes back to me. Like I'm not mutilated, but when
Hmm.
you start using certain kinds of words, it's actually kind of detrimental to the people who really need it. So
Yes.
that being said, I want to say you start medicalizing children and you start doing things that are irreversible. None of
Yep.
what you do to these kids is they're lying. How
Yep.
can you put medicine into a kid to stop their puberty and then pretend like, well, it's just the pause button. If they
Yeah.
decide they want to go back, what are you talking about? You
Yeah.
literally
It's
took
just
out
a
a whole chunk.
medication that they give to they use to chemically castrate child predators, and that's reversible.
Oh, oh my god, dude, it that's the thing where I think people just we need to all stand up, all of us, and we need to
Yes.
say enough is enough. This is sick, and we're
Mm.
all playing into your weird fantasies. And no, you cannot touch a child. Done.
Yeah. I have my brother-in-law. He's a socialist, and we were having a conversation the other day, and he goes, that stuff's not really happening. And I go, yes it is. I told him
What?
that's the problem. I said the problem is, since you're on the
That's
left,
right.
you
Hmm.
want to you want to forgive the sins of those people, and I'll
That's
use
right.
that word because
Hmm.
when you mess with kids, to me
That's
that's a
right.
sin. you're
Right.
you're you screwed up already.
Hear you.
You're gonna pissed off the mama bears and the papa
That's right.
bears,
That's
and
right.
so I told him, this is something we don't see the eye and eye on much, but if this is something that we see eye to eye on,
That's right.
then we need to call it out together. Because if
Together.
someone like you who's a socialist, someone like me who's a capitalist, if we
Yep.
could put our other issues aside and go,
That's
look,
right.
look, when it comes to this, look, I'm for gay marriage. I'm for when you're an adult and you want to transition, you do you. You're not
Yeah.
hurting me.
That's right.
you know
That's right.
but when you're trying to do this to kids, now you're hurting me, because
That's
I got
right.
a 6-year-old daughter that you're going to try to confuse the hell out of.
That's right. That's right. We care about our kids. I'm a dad too. I have a 10-year-old. I care about my kids. I'm a soccer coach, right? I'm out there with all the kids. And I'm like, these kids, if they don't know anything about that. But the minute you introduce it, right? So you introduce this new idea that there's no such thing as men and women and you can be non-binary, you're introducing a thought process that is not real. It is not you. First off, I'm going to tell you, as a transsexual man, I don't want people to be trans. It's not an easy road. It just happened that I have this disorder and I had to fix it. But that being said, as far as I'm concerned, I would like to see people grow out of it. They're going to have a better life growing out of it. They're not going to be medical. I'm medicalized for life. I have health problems, blah, blah, blah. Why would I ever want somebody to take this route? I would like to see somebody actually get better and not have to take this route. And that's not anti-trans in any way, shape, or form. It's pro-trans. It means that we understand our disorder, but we're hoping that we don't have to have a massive amount of children. Those kids are not trans. One out
Yeah.
of 1,000 of those kids might be trans, but those
Yes, I
kids are
agree.
not
It's a
trans. Yeah,
social contagion. That's what
that's right.
I always say. It's a
That's right.
social contagion. it's
That's right.
it's kind of like when I was growing up, uh you had girls, they used to cut themselves.
Yes,
And
that's right.
once one girl in that group cut herself,
Everyone.
then all the other girls in that group
That's
started
right.
cutting themselves.
There you go. That's right. That's exactly what's happening now. So all the
Hmm.
kids are trans, so the other kids want to be trans. It's a cool
Hmm.
thing to is actually like cool. Go on
Yeah.
TikTok. It's
Yeah.
literally the thing everybody talks about on TikTok.
Yeah. No, I've
It's
seen it.
absurd.
I don't have TikTok. My wife has TikTok. She's always showing me this
Yeah.
stuff. I refuse to
Disgusting.
download TikTok.
It's gross, man. I'm only on there to do this, right?
Yes.
So I'm only on there to say, hey, wait a minute here. I'm a 30 plus 60-year-old trans man. If any of you kids need to talk to somebody who's been through it all, I'm there for that reason. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like slow down. I try to tell them, you want to actually look like this? No turning back, kiddo. No turning back. None of it's
Oh
reversible.
wow.
Yeah.
One of my
Uh-huh.
viewers put, someone I know just took her child out of school to start homeschooling. Child came home from first grade speaking about her pronouns.
I'm going to die. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about right
Hmm.
here. There is no
Yes.
way a first grader should ever even have that on their lips. That's indoctrination.
Yes. 100%.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Gross. I
100%.
would I would whip my kid out of that school so fast.
It's okay, Marissa. One of my followers, she put, "Hey, sorry, I'm so late."
That's okay. Better here
She's one
than
of my
never.
uh she's one of my guests. Like I have her on. She's
Excellent.
awesome. She's another
Excellent.
she has a spina bifida,
Oh,
and
wow, I'm
she's very
sorry.
inspiring. She has no,
Oh,
don't be sorry. She's kick ass. She's badass.
right on.
Like
Excellent.
that
Good for her.
we had a conversation about like last week about obesity. They were talking about how
Mm,
obesity is a disease, and she's like, she does videos where she's just there showing how to work out with spina bifida, with a
right
disability,
on.
showing that you don't have to,
I
you
love
don't
her.
have to be just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you have to, be out of shape, be fat. Yeah, she goes. Yeah, she just said here she goes.
Yeah, I see it.
She put.
Yeah,
Don't be
right on.
sorry.
Right
Love my
on.
life.
I love you. I already like you because you're taking control of your space. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's what I try to do with mine. Is like, look, I figured it out. I move forward. It's all good. I'm not living a bad. I live an amazing life. But can a 10-year-old live an amazing life being put
Mhm.
on drugs that they should never be put on? No, they're
Yeah.
going to have long-term effects forever.
Exactly. It's something that's why I
Yeah.
like, I go when that's why I said when you're an adult, um, my friend wants to connect with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Connect me. Connect for
um,
sure.
but no, when you're an adult, you do you. That's what I go as a
That's
parent.
right.
We're parents. So
That's
as a parents, sometimes it's our job to protect kids, even if it means
yes.
protecting them from themselves.
That's right. Thank you for saying that. That is my job as his dad to make sure,
Hmm.
first off, that he grows up to be a badass. Secondly, that he's smart. And thirdly,
Hmm.
that he's not a jerk.
Yeah.
So those are all my responsibilities that I'm taking on as his dad. And that's what I said, I think earlier. As parents, we are in charge of our kids,
Yeah.
not you, not the state, not the school system, not what
Mhm.
you want to put in my kid's face. No, that's a classroom has gone out of control, dude. First off, a
Yeah.
classroom should have blank walls with maybe pictures of mountains and geography and
Yep.
letters. And,
Letters and
but the minute you
colors and
start adding flags, then if you're going to add the trans LGBTQ plus poo poo pee pee flag, you better add other flags
yep.
because that's indoctrination. If you're
Yep.
only seeing without the American flag, dude,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What? What
Hmm.
has happened to us?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
It's
want my
true.
kid to be proud of being an
Matter of
American.
fact,
I want
that's
yeah.
how I met her was I did a review on Aaron Lewis's Am I the Only One? I don't know if you ever heard the
Mm.
song.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And I did a review because I've loved Aaron Lewis since he was with Stain. So I did the
Excellent.
review on the song, and we've been friends ever since.
Oh, that's
Her and I. It's
awesome,
been a
man.
few years now.
That's so
But
cool. I love that. This is the best thing about the internet right
oh
here
yeah,
is
it's like Laura.
connecting.
I had Laura. I met her through watching your show, so I reached out to
Excellent.
her. Uh, you know, I figured I'd be able to have her. I never thought I'd get you on my show. I figured I could get her. She's a smaller channel like me. I didn't
Oh,
think
it's for
someone
that.
would.
It's not about that for me. It's not about how
No,
many
I see
people.
that. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Trust me.
it's about this. It's about me and you connecting. And then what's going to happen is people are going to see me on your show, whoever that
Mhm.
is, and be like, "Oh, not all trans people are weirdos." I hope. That's
Well, weird in a good way.
yeah, weird in a good way. There you go.
Well, on a lighthearted. So I gotta say, for a 60-year-old, how the hell do you keep in such good shape? Because I'm jealous because I see your pictures and I'm like, I want guns like you.
Right on, dude. Well, first off, I take testosterone, right?
Yes.
So I continually have to take testosterone for the rest of my life. So, a biological man like yourself, your testosterone levels will lower as you
Sure.
get
Yeah.
older and those kind of things. I'm continually adding testosterone. So, on some level, I do think it has kept me in this other space that not the average 16-year-old. And I'm also not a biological male, I'm a biological female. So, I think I'm just coming to it in a different, and, I do work out and I do all these things. And I don't know, and also I mean, I think you look great. I don't know how old you are, but you look great. So
44. I'll be
yeah, you look
44.
fantastic.
I'll be 44. Well, I lost last year I lost 50 pounds because
Oh,
I had to.
yay.
I actually I used to do this show every day, and it wasn't fun anymore. Like I was
No,
doing it every day, and it wasn't
that's
fun.
right.
So
Yep.
I took
Yep.
the summer off. I lost the weight. I
Great.
came back on, and I
Great.
changed my format to once a week, and I try to
Excellent.
find guests because it's more fun. This is more fun having a conversation than
Yeah.
just talking to the camera and be like, who's watching?
I know it's horrible.
This is
No,
more fun.
but
Oh wait,
I have to commend you for that. Not a lot of people, especially in this day and age when everyone's like, you're fat shaming. Fat is healthy. I'm like, what? We are
yes,
literally we are doing such damage to American culture, and
yes.
every other country is like laughing at us, right? We're dumbing us down, we're
Hmm.
making us all fat. And yeah, I did say fat, and we're totally
Yeah.
making us all like literally trans, and we're all
Hmm.
making it so nobody can speak out, because if you do, you're a bad person. So we're
Yes.
literally making this country completely reliant on pharmaceutical drugs, right?
Hmm.
And gaining weight, so you're unhealthy, so then you're going to need pharmaceutical drugs. I see it. We're
Hmm.
medicalizing everyone here, and
Yes.
so that they don't. And that's really why I'm trying to show that at 60 I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my life. I don't do any kind of medication at
Yeah.
all except the testosterone. But
Yeah.
other than that, and I stay in shape for a reason, because it makes my heart, everything. So
Mhm.
I disagree with this fat is healthy
Oh,
kind of
I
situation.
agree.
100%. Yeah.
Someone put that. My 6-year-old daughter just told me right now that a girl she was playing with last night told her she wants to be a boy, and
Okay.
I'm like,
Well, yeah. Where did that come from? Just out of
who knows?
nowhere, all of a sudden, boo, I want to be a boy, right? So you got to remember, the language matters. I listen to
Mhm.
these young people, right? They say, I want to be trans, right? That's a weird thing to say, because now trans is an identity. This isn't my identity. This is a medical condition. When I was a kid, I said, I feel like a boy. I never
Mhm.
said I want to be a boy. It's very important that we hear the language, because these kids are saying things like that because they're hearing it from other people. And
Yes.
kids, come on, we know, we're parents. Kids
Yep.
pick up on stuff right away, and they're like, I want to be like that.
Yep. It's like my daughter used to. She couldn't say the tr sound. It used to come
Hmm.
out with an
Hmm.
f.
Hmm.
So instead of saying truck, so she's going around and everybody's laughing at it.
Oh
So
my
what
God.
happened? She would say it because she would see everybody's enjoying her say it. So she kept saying it. To one point we had to tell her, Mamita, you can't do that because
That's right.
that's not, I know you're trying to say truck, but
That's
it doesn't
cute.
sound like truck.
It's cute. It's so cute. But I hear what you're saying. Of course. So she's getting affirmation for it. She's getting, accolades. Kids
Mm-hmm.
love that. If you praise a kid, they're going to just be like, into that space. So all of a sudden we're praising all these kids, calling them brave that they want to transition. It is not brave. It is actually wrong. And the last thing, I'm telling people are not hearing me. The last thing should be the medicalization. Before that, we should try to figure out what's going on with this kid, and why does this kid feel, and why do we have such a huge upswing of young girls, not boys, young
Mm-hmm.
girls wanting to transition. I mean, it's pretty much obvious. Girls want to be boys because it looks more fun. You don't get
Mm-hmm.
boobs, you don't get your period, you don't go through the things
Yeah.
that young girls, you don't get sexualized as much, right?
No.
You
Mhm.
start being sexualized when you grow breasts, and it's a thing. It's a natural, but
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable for young girls to feel that
Mm.
way. So of course they want to be one of the boys. They don't want to be one of the girls.
Yeah, no, it's like, like I have a niece. When she hit puberty, like before she hit puberty, I used to rough house play with her and everything.
That's
But now
right.
that she's, developing, I'm
That's
just like, I
right.
gotta respect because,
That's
I
right.
don't want to by mistake touch her boob or touch her butt and make her
That's
feel
right. Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Well, thank you for really being, so observant of that, because I don't think a lot of people are, but that's kind of where it's at. And so that's why I'm like, but wait, of course girls want to be like boys. I hung out with all, like when I was a kid, there was all these other girls that were like tomboys. Not one of
Yeah,
them transitioned, only
yeah.
me.
I had a girl teach me how to do a crossover.
Right
Yeah.
on.
So speaking of what we were talking about offline, why men all of a sudden want a period is beyond me.
I love it. That's so excellent. That is excellent. Screen cap that one. That's great. I mean, it's beyond me too, because I had my period. Oh my God. Like nobody. But they're equating it. They think that the period makes you a woman, which is so absurd and so bizarre. But
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to say again. It's a misogynist movement. The trans women I know would never, you had Laura on, she would
Yeah.
never say something like that. These guys who are transitioning now are different. They come from a different thing.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's more fetishized and they're really fetishizing themselves in this way.
Cosplay.
Yeah, it looks,
Cosplay.
I never say like, I ejaculate. That's just never going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just has nothing to do with anything. And it's never coming out of my mouth except right here. But you know what I mean? I'm not like running around going, I ejaculated today. Like it would be absurd and insane. And everybody would think I'm a wingnut. I'm just like, why are we letting these transgender women do this? This is what I don't understand. Why are we all just so
It's
scared? It's weird.
like I said, cultural revolution. There's power. There's power in destroying the old ideas, the old customs,
So
the old
brilliant.
habits,
Yeah.
and the old
That's
culture.
yeah. It's brilliant. That what's it called?
The four olds.
It's brilliant.
I emailed it to you when
You did. I
so
didn't have a chance to read before we got on, but I'm gonna
yeah,
really
no, well that's
it's
why I sent
cool.
it, because I'm like, it's to
Yeah,
me that's we're living through the attempted cultural revolution of America.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
And
But
the
it's
question is, will we win non-violently, or
good
will we
question.
have to go civil war?
Good question. It's
That's
close to
I,
that.
I mean, I don't want the violence. I want to be
No.
able to beat them with good
Yes.
ideas.
With
I want to be able to
intellect.
push back. Exactly.
That's right.
Because like you
They
said, you
have
have a
no
10-year-old.
intellect.
What?
Sorry.
What did you say?
They're not smart. What they are is violent. And
Yes.
what they are is they're using a system to, that's why I believe. So there's this idea of power in numbers, right?
Hmm.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So it's what a lot of horrible places did. They
Yeah.
institute bringing children into it,
Yeah.
empowering the youth and
Yep.
empowering the youth because the youth aren't scared. The youth will just power bulldoze.
Yeah.
So these people who are in charge of this trans narrative are indoctrinating young people because the more people they get in this space, the more, as you see, the more sort of powerful it becomes.
Yeah.
So that's why I look at it on some level, first off, as indoctrination, secondly, as cult like behavior.
Oh yes, very much so.
Very much so.
Hmm.
Very much so. It has nothing
Because
to
you
do with
can.
transition.
Well, that's what I call wokeism. I call it the
Yeah. Yeah.
the non-religious cults.
Yeah. That's right.
Because
That's right.
when you attack their beliefs, you're attacking their identity, you're
That's right.
attacking their
Uh-huh.
ideology, their
Mhm.
dogma.
Mhm. That's
So,
right.
and then when you attack their dogma, they don't come at you with, oh well, you must respect my beliefs. No, my beliefs are right, and you have to do what I say.
That's right. That's where I'm like, but wait a minute here. Since when do I have to believe what you're saying just because I'm trans? That's not, I don't live in the trans space. I
Mhm.
transitioned to
Oh
live as a man. Different.
yeah, someone I remember I commented on something, and they're like, your ancestors must be ashamed of you. And
Wow.
it was something about abortion, because I believe abortion up to 3 months. After that,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I
Okay.
believe in some
That's
limits. I
fair.
don't believe in
Sure.
stillbirth. That's, to me, is ridiculous.
Well,
But
no, that's actually bad news. If you do
yeah,
that, you're going to create a space that people go underground and do
yep.
weird,
Yeah,
crazy
no, that's why I
stuff.
go. That's
Dangerous.
why I go 3 months. I think
Yeah.
by 3 months,
Yeah.
my son was born at 6 months. But anyway,
Okay.
we go tangent. So they told me, your ancestors must be ashamed of you. So I saw that they were Mexican. So I said, your ancestors must be proud because they practice child sacrifice.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Did
That's
not
how
hear
you
back
get
from
them.
her. Did not hear back from her.
That's right, because you nailed her. That's the thing is they throw insults at us, constantly throwing
Yep.
stuff at us. And the minute we come back with total fucking solid they just run. They block you. They run. They cannot
Yep.
compete with us. They can't compete with us, and they know it.
No.
It's why they created these words like transphobic, turf, bigot, grifter, all of the same words they use over and over to shut you down. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, good luck. You can call me anything you want. I don't care. I will never shut up. You can't shut me up. And I prove that. That's why it's so important that me and you have these conversations.
Oh
And we
no,
come
I
together.
agree. That's why I like to. That's why I like to have people on. I mean, I would love to have someone that disagrees, but they're not going to come on.
That's right, because they're babies and they don't know how to have actual. I go on tons of conservative shows like Fox, and and it's not my space, but I'll go because they're willing to have me on and they're
Yeah.
willing to have the conversation. And like I said before, then millions of people see me and they're like, "Oh, Buck's trans, but wow, he's so different in the way he thinks." And then they're like, "Oh, I get it. Those people are wingnuts, and this is actually real trans people."
Well, I said I think that's a good place to end. Talking about that, since you
Yeah.
let people know. I know you have your website. You have
Yep.
Instagram, Twitter.
Yep. All
What
of
is the
it.
best place to watch you mainly?
Well,
Where do you like to go on the most?
mainly, I would say my YouTube channel, which is more about interviews. So if you want to
Okay.
come and watch a lot of my interviews, I would appreciate anyone watching. I detransitioners, trans people, young trans. I have all kinds of stuff that I'm bringing voices of the voiceless of the trans community,
Nice.
so that I can show you it's not what you think it is. So I'm bringing, so I'm really doing good stuff, I think, with that, as well as Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's pretty crazy, but I love it because I get to say all kinds of stuff there.
Oh yeah, like I said, we offline. I said about your Twitter space about the men having periods. That was hilarious, man.
Dude, that's going to be my next Twitter space. The first one I did is do trans women get periods? And it was hilarious. Now I'm going to do men get periods? I'm having fun with it. They're idiots.
Oh yeah. Push past paralysis. She says she DM'd you on
Oh,
Instagram.
great. Thank you, friend. I'm glad to hook up with you. I appreciate it.
And just subscribe to your YouTube.
Thank you. I appreciate that too, my friend. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I got you a couple followers here.
Excellent, friend. Thank you. I appreciate you guys a lot. I appreciate all your followers, all of that. It really means the world to me that you guys are all willing to sort of hear another side to this insanity, and that not all trans people are crazy.
I agree. I think that's why, that's why I had Mario Presents from
love him.
Groomer. Oh, he's awesome.
Oh, love that dude.
Still, you were my best. He was my best guest because some of his statements. I mean, he just burned people's minds. It's like, and in a good way, it's like he just made people go, "Holy shit!"
That's right.
And I had Maggie. I don't know if you know.
Oh God, totally love her. No, she's amazing.
She's great. I tried to have her on for 2 years. If finally someone connected us, like someone like a friend of mine that I met knew her, and it's like, oh, I could get her on for you. And it was like, hey, if you could do that for me, I appreciate it, And I got her on. She was great. And like I said, I saw your show, and I saw Laura, and had Laura me and Laura like joking all the time now.
Great. Anybody you see on my channel, if you want to bring them on, just let me know. Or you have somebody in mind, I might have connections to them. So just ask me, and I can always try to connect you.
I could tell you one person that would be my dream, but I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, that's it for. I know I want to be respectful of Buck's time because I know he has to go for his son's piano lesson. So
that's right.
Everybody, follow him, and if you watch this live, thank you. And if you're watching it on replay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And have a great week, everyone. See you guys next week.